Hi there. Welcome back. I want to talk today about something that really keeps coming up in the context of especially workplace dynamics, and that is how to make this distinction. It's a subtle one, but important between agreeing with somebody and understanding and showing that you understand their perspective. So, to talk about this, I want to talk about what is a healthy disagreement. Is that even a thing? Absolutely, yes. Most of the conflicts that we tend to experience, um, these are sort of more unhealthy disagreements. They're characterized by two or more people making assumptions about each other, more tragically, assumptions of intent, like you meant to do that, or she doesn't care about serving the committee, things that imply we understand somebody's intention or what's going on internally for them when we may not. And then they typically spiral when there's sort of this effort to prove whose perspective is right and whose is wrong. And there's this sort of like gridlock. And this gridlock is basically what most people are trying to avoid when they choose to stay quiet, when they want to tiptoe around a possible disagreement. It's an attempt to preserve harmony and make a collaboration workable. And sometimes that's the effect. Sometimes it really does make sense to let something slide and not speak up, to choose your battles, as it were. But staying quiet often has a price in that the conflict is still there, the resentment still builds, and trust gets diminished, but nobody's necessarily paying attention or tending any of it. One, because one person might not even know what's going on, and the other person's kind of compartmentalized or glossed over it. So this is a destructive dynamic. It's sort of one of the things that we're referring to when we talk about false peace. So I want to offer a subtle, but what I think is a powerful paradigm shift, and that is like what's possible when you talk about a healthy disagreement. There's three main things. So first, you stay in the dialogue. You are engaged, and even when it feels like you're having a difficult time seeing eye to eye with somebody, you're asking questions. You're saying, looks like I didn't explain that part clearly. Let me try again. Really getting to the place where you have a sense that both of you get what matters to each other. And in doing so, too, you're demonstrating care and understanding, even if you have different perspectives. So what might this sound like? So you might say, so it sounds like for you, it makes sense to assume that we'll be in sync in time for the presentation. You're not really worried about the parts coming together. We've we've worked it out in the past, and your guess is that that's how it'll go this time. Is that right? Or let's see, even though you care about quality right now, the key thing for you is deliverability. That's where your focus is. Does that capture it? So the key NVC skills here: recaps and connection requests. Checking in. Is this what you're basically saying? Do I get it? And am I right? Is that it? So once you have a sense that you understand them, and once they've given you an indication that they feel gotten, even more important, then you can move into seeing if they have the capacity to understand you. When you make this shift from listening into expressing, make sure you keep your honesty about your own self, your own, observations, feelings, needs, not your opinions about them, right? So you don't want to go, that's, we are so far away from being ready, because it kind of has this tone of like, you're crazy, that's ridiculous, right? And like you're wrong. And instead, try something like, well, I have a different perspective. I'm actually worried that this is different than some of those other times where we've pulled it off. Neither one of us wants to cancel the presentation. I know that. And I really know that we care about the same elements. Positioning wise, we want to showcase our competence here. Like we're on the same page about that. It's just hard for me to imagine, given X, Y, and Z, that we'll really have anything complete to present. And I don't want us to look bad. you know. So again, the key is to be in touch with both parties' feelings and needs, like understanding what's motivating you and them, even if you don't agree on their sort of strategies, their ideas about how to move forward. So again, you can disagree and still connect. So I hope this distinction is helpful, and I'm assuming that you can kind of start to see why this would support a more robust collaboration, right? So if you have this capacity, then collaborations aren't going to get shut down in gridlock or in that kind of like escalation energy. It's like there's actual continuing movement. Like we're still in the conversation. Right. If you have the capacity to do this, then you're essentially still building trust and connection, even during intensity. Even when, like right now, we don't see how to move forward in a way that works for both of us. Like a sense of like co-holding it together versus both people trying to convince that the other's right, the other's wrong, and so on. And, more feedback gets elicited and utilized when you're in this space. So collaborations are, if you're working on a product, the product becomes more robust. The relationships can be stronger when you have the capacity to do this. In terms of your personal relationships, same thing. If you can, in fact, the Gottmans, I'm a Gottman certified therapist, and the Gottmans do a lot of marriage research, and they talk about how, like good relationships have disagreements. And it's important that you can let somebody know that you get where they're coming from, even when you have your own point of view. This is a key thing. If you can kind of get this subtle nuance, I imagine it's going to be supportive kind of across different spheres of your life. So I hope this was helpful. If you haven't already, join the NBC in the Workplace Facebook group. It's a space where we talk about, how to apply all of these kinds of principles in professional settings. And if you're a leader or an aspiring leader in your organization, in your field, come check us out. We'd love to connect with you there. Thanks so much.